Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 9 of the In the Shed podcast. We're here again with old Bean Daddy,
What up?
and I'm Judson Miller.
And Curtis Burbage.
So let's go ahead and get in the shit. So the email address has actually been popping off pretty good. We're going to get to that here in a minute. So during our little break, the guys were talking about their fertility stories, and I've got something I want to get into that as well, but we'll do that later. Kurt, I'm going to go ahead and let you kick it off here.
Okay, so me and my first wife, we had a hard time having our daughter, and we tried for a few years, I think it was. So somebody said, why don't you go to a fertility clinic? So I was like, all right, hell, I'm tired of trying the old natural way. Let's see what's going on. So I guess it's harder, or more in depth to check the females is the male. Male only has to go and do one deed.
Yeah.
Right? So we schedule it. I go on up there, knowing that, hey, I'm going to have to go in this place and, don't get
Do
wrong.
the damn thing.
Do the thing, man.
What are you having to do?
I'm going to go in there and shake the tree, man.
Shake the tree.
Okay. I'm going to go in there, and make magic happen,
I got you.
I mean,
got
something
you.
I'd been doing since I was a wee
You're a
boy.
professional at this point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Never before has anybody ever, that didn't know me, ever wanted the after effects of it. But hey, you know what? So we go on in there. I went, and it was embarrassing because everybody's looking at you that works there because they know why you're there.
I mean, they know what's about to happen.
They know what you're there to
You're
do.
about to jerk off up in that office.
Oh, you're about to bust it loose, right?
So did you do it Tom Green style, or were you able to handle it yourself?
Oh, I had it. Okay, so they put me. The chick brings me in there. And she goes, "Okay, sir, this is your room. It's a nice little suite. It was like fancy. Shows me the bathroom. Okay, and I'm like, all right. And she's like, all right. So here's your cup. She's like, the specimen goes in there. I'm like, okay, cool. So she goes, there's the DVDs and content on there. And I'm like, all right. She goes, or she said, I forgot what she said. She's like, everything that you need is right there or whatever. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, let me see what they got. You know what I mean? So I'm sitting there, I look at the couch and I'm like, oh, I'm not sitting on that. Like how many dudes have been on that thing, Well, anyway, long story short, I ended up sitting on it, but I lined it with I went to the bathroom, you had like toilet seat, the liners. I lined that bastard up, dude. Like you couldn't see no couch. It was
all white paper.
Oh, I use the shit out of their stuff. Cause I get too tired of standing up, So anyway, and I go and I go to find a little clip on there I like a lot, and it takes forever because I don't want to touch the DVD player. So I use the little marker she gives me, and every time I'd hit next to the next scene on the video to try to find something that might arouse me, it would go click click, and it would like echo out. I'm like, oh my god!
Click of all time.
But see, I also had a theory going into this that I didn't want to be too fast because I didn't want these females that work there to say, oh my god. So
you came right here and got to work,
dude, I was like, so I was all right, Kurt, don't be too fast now, you gotta pace yourself. So I went through the struggles of all that, and then finally, like I said, found something that it was good to go.
What was it?
Huh? It was two females that were very attracted to each other.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So hey, I love a good love story.
I mean,
Anyway, so then I was like, see, I'm very pampered. I'm very pampered in that situation. So I wasn't used to.
You got your whole laundry room. You got the fortress of Spankitude all set
That's
up.
what I'm saying, and I'm used to having. I'm not used to doing it the old-fashioned way. Out in the middle of the wilderness, just you and the trees. I'm used to a little bit of. So anyway, I didn't have any of my luxuries that I as far as things that make things go smoother, I guess you could say.
To go smoother, yes.
So I went to the little soap dispenser. That didn't work out. It foamed up so bad that you couldn't really see what you were doing. So had to clean that off. Anyway, long story short, I did my thing, got it out. Well, the girl didn't tell me where to leave the cup. So I walk out with the cup behind my back, and she's like, "Can I help you?" And I'm like, she's like, "Is something wrong?" I'm like, "Shit, I was too fast." That's the first thing through my mind. It's like, "Damn, I was too fast, man." They're probably laughing at me now because they think I'm too pumped.
Back?
Yeah, like a 2-pump chumped it, So I go, and she was like, I was like, "Where do I put it?" And she's like, "Put what?" And I go, and she's like, "Oh, what?" And I go, I hold the cup up, and I go, "This." Oh, didn't they leave it in the bathroom? I go, no one told me that. Just give it to me. So she gives me this questionnaire. How did you receive the sample, all that? And it was like, orally, this and this. I'm like, hold on, these were options for me here?
Yeah.
And she's like, just please check that one, sir. I go, okay. So, I checked it, but it was so embarrassing walking around with a cup full of that stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then, I hold it up in front of people because she don't know what I'm talking about. And anyway, I went to go check out. The lady charges me $50.
Dang.
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
$50.
Aren't you usually charging for that?
That's what I'm saying. I was like, but I made, it was embarrassing. So always make comments when I'm embarrassed. Or things are uncomfortable.
Yeah, you
I always
gotta
make little
break the
cracks.
tension.
I said, best $50 I ever spent. And she's older than me. And she looks up and she goes, geez, never heard that one before.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I was like, you're a pretty ass woman. Damn,
We
dude.
have to get someone from one of those clinics onto the show.
Oh, man.
That kind of leads into I have a complex. So I have a complex where you were talking about you were worried about not taking long enough, taking too long, whatever. Well, mine is every time I use the bathroom, I have this thing where if I think people can hear me peeing in the toilet, it just completely messes my brain up.
I think everybody has that.
Dude, it's some points where it's crippling. You go into someone's got a half bath in the middle of their living room or whatever.
Oh yeah, like ours downstairs.
Downstairs, exactly. The first time I ever came over here, we were all sitting at the dinner table, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, and I'm peeing in there, and I know everybody can hear me going, and it's I'm sweating, and it messes me up, dude.
He said that guy from Waiting. Remember that?
Oh yeah, gosh, that was so funny.
He thinks he was watching him piss.
But I don't have a problem if you're standing next to a dude at a urinal.
Yeah, that's. So
but
weird.
when you're in a closed space,
and it's
just you. But if someone can hear me, and I think it all stems back to a movie that I watched. I can't remember what the movie was called, but there was a theory that you could gauge a man's size by the loudness of the sound it makes when it hits the toilet.
I truly 100% believe you. That's why when I go to pee, I know the shape of every urinal, and so I know where to hit, and I will squeeze the butt cheeks and get the force going, son. I'm talking
Turn that thing into a pressure washer, man.
Yes, sir. And then I walk out of there with my head held high, yeah, you kids wish you had a winner like that.
See, I don't know, for some reason, I just don't think about that part of it all. Don't get me wrong. I do see all points on that. But it's one of those things hey, if you want to know, then you have to do like everybody else. You have to get in line for Space Mountain.
Yeah, you gotta subscribe to Kurt's OnlyFans.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like this is the best 3-minute ride in the park. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And that's cuddle time.
Yep, of course, afterwards and before and during. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this time to go to our emails. I had someone email me about some conspiracy theories, and I feel like you guys are the best guys to talk about this with.
This is my jam right here, man.
I know, man. I love some conspiracies because they just seem to have a way of turning out to be true.
Well, because you look at, there are a few that you can just see are
right through them.
Right through them. There's no evidence. There's no backing. But there are some of them that have credibility to them just by sheer evidence.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and we talked about on an early episode, is some people will come out and they'll make some real good points, and you have to sit there and think, wait a minute, is this for reals? And this is one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it if y'all don't mind getting the shit with me. This listener emails me and says, hey man, dinosaurs never existed. Have you guys heard this?
Okay, yeah, so I have a kind of skewed view on this because, I consider myself to be slightly religious. I go to church. I'm not the most godly man in the world, but I do believe in stuff. So, all that aside, I had a friend's dad one time when I was in high school. We were talking about religion and something like that, and I questioned him. I said, well, how do you explain the dinosaurs?
Yeah.
And this man looked at me dead in my face, and he said, what dinosaurs? And I said,
dinosaurs?
the thousands upon thousands of fossils that they've discovered, and it's all fake. And I couldn't grasp this man's concept on that. It's you're telling me that there are people out there that have dedicated their entire lives to burying skeletons of dinosaurs hundreds of feet in the ground.
No, see, and here's where I'm gonna deviate from that a little bit. It's not that these fossils are not real.
Right.
So, this guy obviously, there's a lot more to unpack there. It's not that they aren't real. They exist.
Right.
But the problem is even so, there's one Tyrannosaurus Rex called Sue.
Yep. I know.
They have 250 bones of the 360 quote unquote known bones of a T-Rex. First of all, how is it a known?
Right.
How do you know how many bones a
Right.
T-Rex has if you've only got up to 250?
Right.
And she's the most complete one. Now, one did just go to auction a while back. I can't think of his name right off
Was
the
it
bat.
Cowboy Rex?
I can't remember. It was. They gave him a name, but he went to auction, and it was the quote unquote most complete one. But at the one of the museums that I've been to, and I love dinosaurs growing up.
Right.
I was a dinosaur kid. So one of the museums actually shows which bones are actual fossils, and then the ones that they made up are in red. And it's outrageous how many dinosaurs are just completely... Someone said, this bone looks like something that goes here. I'm just going to extrapolate, and it looks like this.
Well, on I watched this show called Dino Hunters, where it's all about fossil diggers and stuff like that. But one thing that I learned is that anything over 30% is considered a complete fossil, or
A complete skeleton.
A complete skeleton.
Yeah.
So 30%, which is less than a third.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, but like he said, you know, they use the fossils that they find, and then they just make the rest up.
That's what's so crazy to me.
Right.
So you start looking into this, and so after they emailed me, I did a little research. I typed in "dinosaur is a hoax." I typed in "were dinosaurs real?" And it's crazy how many people from the scientific community completely say no, they weren't real. They weren't real in the way that we see them. You know, they were giant birds, maybe.
Right.
But like a lot of them did not exist. Like, sure, you've seen a Triceratops, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's only like a handful of those skulls together.
Right.
And so that could have been anything. And you figure, you know, if the earth was covered in water, or the water was higher up on things, you know, aquatic animals look wild.
Yeah. Well, and
You
it's
could-
like any picture you see of a dinosaur is a artist's depiction.
Yeah.
Because no one was alive 65 million years ago to see what these things actually looked like or sounded like.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when you're watching Jurassic Park and the raptors are talking, that's all speculation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and they even said it in Jurassic World. They said, you know, when they were talking about building that one, and he was like, well, we know they don't look like this. We made it look the way you wanted to. Which I thought that was a pretty cool little nod. So I did a little bit of research on it. There was so you know, we talked about how sometimes history is changed by, you know, people that are in competition the other day at work. Like we were talking about Tesla and Edison. Well, this is kind of the same thing. So Othniel Marsh discovered the Triceratops in the late 1800s, just before the turn of the century there. And there are only, since he discovered that one, there are only 3 good skeletons, which means, like Ben said, more than 30% complete skeletons. How can we say that is what that thing looked like? That could have been an aquatic creature.
Right.
That could have been a million things.
Right.
You know, and that could have only been part of their skull. It may not have even been a frill.
Right.
And so the more I get into this, the more I'm like, dadgummit, man, my favorite thing in the whole world didn't exist.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
like,
just like Santa Claus.
Like a lot of conspiracies, though, there's a, like.
Wait, you don't believe in Santa Claus?
No, I don't believe in Santa Claus, man. You know, and now I can't even believe in dinosaurs. So.
Well, dang, man.
Yeah,
I know, right?
Killing hope.
I know, man, and that's what, you know, I hate to come on here on the In the Shit podcast and get so heavy with y'all, but
Well, like that's like a lot of conspiracies, though. There's a reason for them, right? Or like these things that we call conspiracy theories or whatever.
yeah. Well, I've got the reason for this one.
There's a lot of reason. Oh, you do. So there is.
I've got it right here.
What is it?
I've got the documents.
Well, okay. Why would they? Okay. Why would they want to make that shit up? For?
Shout out to
I'm dying
Alex
know
Jones.
this.
I
on
got
that
you right
one.
here, man. I know you wanted to be the Alex Jones, but I got the documents right here in front of me. There was a gentleman named Edward Cope, and he was a competitor with Othniel Marsh. And so the government was paying tons of money to these guys for each different artifact or skeleton or fossil that they found. So they would basically, because they were the 2 pioneers in their field, they would say, okay, well, I found this. This is, you know, they would find tiny bones, you know, like finger bones. And they would say, this belongs to this, and they would make up everything else.
Right.
That's what he did. That's what Othniel Marsh did with the Triceratops. They would find the skulls, or they would find other parts of something, you know, whether it be a bone or whatever, and they would just completely make everything up in an effort to be the first one to win the government contracts and being able to
Right.
name everything and all
Right.
the money and fame that went with it.
Right.
So this was literally all a hoax that was created for clout. And I mean, these two guys went back and forth and back and forth. And so they have so muddied and sullied the waters of dinosaurs that you really don't know what you can believe.
Yeah.
Because even the little bitty ones that they've found, you know, there's that one of the Arcteryx that's almost perfectly preserved. And that is a bird. You look at it and you could literally take a chicken and throw it out here in the yard and let the ants eat it. And then you'd be like, holy crap, I got a dinosaur in the yard.
Dinosaur.
And so anybody that wants to come and tell me now that dinosaurs existed, man, I have to be like, well, I don't know, man.
So the
That messed me up because I never even knew all that.
So
Yeah.
the question is, do you still believe that dinosaurs existed?
See, I don't think they believe they existed in the way that we think they do.
Right, because
I
it's
think-
purely conceptual,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, because if you're a religious person and you believe in creation, then why weren't they on the ark? You know, yeah, sure, they were gigantic, whatever.
Right.
So that would kind of explain why they were all aquatic.
Right.
You know, if there was a giant flood, then sure, they're all in the water. And once the flood waters came up on the land, all the animals moved up onto the land, or not onto the land, but over the land,
Right.
and then they could have died or
When
whatever.
when the waters
And
receded, they right.
That's how they got there.
So they don't go along with the timeline of Adam and Eve and creating the earth and all that stuff, right?
They could have been. I mean, nobody ever says that.
Right, but because like I said, from like a religious point of view, that's one of the biggest things I have with like
Where do they fit in?
I question everything.
Well, I
You
do
got
too,
to.
yeah.
So like when they talk about
You
know
question everything until I tell you there's a Ricky
until
Bobby
Justin tells
statue.
me it's true.
So you believe with Justin?
Yeah. So like when you're looking at like the whole idea of creationism, they say the Earth is only 2,342 years old or whatever,
Like
Yeah.
7,000.
But then like science,
Shows
which
you
I also
billions,
have a
right?
scientific mind, says that the universe and is 13 billion years old.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of where well, what if,
Mm-hmm.
God created the Big Bang? And, so stuff like that is kind of where I question things and, so,
Yeah, that's pretty deep there.
but,
Yeah, well, that's
there's
like-
three things that you don't talk, or two things you don't talk about, religion and politics. So,
What if God just hit the go button on his video game and we really are in a simulation?
yeah.
You need to listen to that song by Little Dicky, Pillow Talking,
Oh, man.
and watch the video.
Have you seen Dave?
That bitch don't know about Pangea.
Yeah. That
Have
song,
you
that
have
song
you
about
have you
Pangea?
seen the Little Dicky show on FX called Dave?
No, I haven't watched it.
Dude,
yet.
you got to watch it.
It's so
It
good.
is
So
hilarious.
you ever heard the song when you said that?
Oh, yeah. I
That
love it.
song is funny as shit, dude. And it's like
Bring
Brain.
out a poop.
Yeah, she's like Brain. Tell her, and Brain comes in there. It's like the little Brain. He's like, and he's like, what's it? He says something about, I bet you don't know about Pangea. She goes, let's just sing the subject.
Yeah.
His Brain's like, that bitch don't know about Pangea.
So how about Pangea? Yeah, I love that one. But yeah, I mean, it kind of goes back to like with all this stuff. If you want to take their creationism route with it, that's fine. I'll argue with you on that point. Again, they weren't on there. They could have been in the water. Water came up. They were swimming all over the place. Water goes down. They get left there. That's one way. We could talk about it there. And if you don't believe in creationism, then why would something evolve away from that? Why would birds evolve into something smaller? I can understand
Right.
maybe if the food sources weren't there. But if, and we could also say that if an asteroid hit, then
You would think something would have survived.
something. Yeah, I mean, obviously stuff did.
Dude, that's what made me think about
Well,
it.
because let's talk about the asteroid for a second. They say that the Gulf of Mexico was created from that crater, or the crater that was created by that asteroid. So you would think that, I don't know what's geologically directly across the planet from the Yucatan area, whatever. You think that maybe, stuff would survive over there. But also, you got to think about the amount of debris and ash and stuff that was spewed into the atmosphere that basically blocked out the sun for 200 years or whatever, creating the ice age and stuff like that. So they're like you said, you got to take what you see and what you believe.
Yeah.
And you have to decipher which one you want to
That's not easy to
believe.
do.
Right.
I mean, that's like the moon landing. I mean, like,
Yeah, man,
there's,
like-
there's a lot of evidence they've come up with on, like, the fact that the reason why we say we landed on the moon was it Russia?
Yeah, Russia.
Yeah, Russia.
Because Russia was, like, on their way.
Well, Russia actually put the first man in space.
Yeah.
So the Cold War was all about weapons development and stuff like that. So when Russia put a man in space,
Is that Yuri Gagarin?
yeah, exactly, the United States was very unhappy that they got beat.
Lost a space race, man.
But so that's what the whole conspiracy theory about the moon landing being faked was, that they say that in a movie studio in Burbank, they faked the moon landing, but also, they have, let's say there's 25,000 people involved in the project from getting from a man in space to landing on the moon.
Yeah.
In the 70 years since the moon landing, you don't think that one person would have blown the whistle on that whole thing?
Yeah,
Yes, that man,
seriously.
it's whole fake. The whole thing's fake.
Yeah.
Because in everything like that, there's always one person who 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever, it's like, yeah, man, it was all a lie.
Oh yeah, the government killed him.
But
if
it
they did.
hasn't, or they're dead, right?
Yeah.
Or they got Epstein, but,
Hey.
but it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I mean, that we know of.
Right.
I mean,
true.
because like, where do a lot of these things come from anyway? That like us questioning it.
Well,
That
the
come from-
saying, where there's smoke, there's fire,
Oh
right?
yeah, there's smoke.
So, smoke is indicative of fire, so evidence is indicative of truth,
That's
right?
why Buzz is knocking people out.
Oh yeah, he
He's like,
knows
don't
he
question my
went.
shit.
Well,
man.
I
This is
mean-
not claim to fame here.
Being the second man on the moon is probably one of the worst things that you could be known for.
Sloppy seconds.
I'm
man.
not Neil Armstrong, but I was there.
I was there.
I was there.
Don't he race bikes?
Do you know the name of the third man that was on that mission?
Oh gosh, hold on. I know them all.
It was Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and
Stop. Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me this.
because
I
there's a
know it.
third man and no one knows his name.
Yeah, he stayed on the.
He was the one that stayed on the.
Yeah, he was on.
the ship.
He. I don't know if he ever actually stepped foot on the
No.
moon, but he was there.
What was his name?
Michael Collins.
Thank you, man. I kept wanting to say Phil Collins.
Phil
I'm like,
Collins.
No, that's.
But he can feel it coming in the air tonight. You
Right.
know what I mean?
That's my theme song, man.
Now I need a good drum fill to hit right there. But so with the moon landing, MythBusters a couple years ago, they did a whole series on the moon landing, like a 2-hour special, and they proved that the moon landing was real. And people were like, "Well, you're exactly the guys that they would go to do that."
Yeah, Hollywood filmmaker.
Yeah,
Because that's
and-
where they came from. The MythBusters came from Hollywood.
Yeah.
Special effects guys and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
They got
MI5.
guys that come out and debunk that shit.
Right.
Or
That
MI6,
sound
whatever it is.
credible.
Well, so what they did was, there's a lot of people that say the way the shadows look on the pictures, they couldn't possibly happen. Well, that was one of the things I thought was cool, because that was one of the things that I believe. I was like, well, these do look kind of funny. Well, then they go and prove that it could be, it's possible for that stuff to happen in a natural setting. And so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well,
But-
it's kind of like that thing that me and you had that discussion about, where you drew on the hood of my car about the setting sun and the shadow, and
Yeah.
all that Judson, for a short period of time, believed we were actually in a simulation.
no,
Because
it's not a short period of time. It's a current period.
yeah,
of time.
okay. But where he was so mentally messed up from the shadow on the moon and the position of the sun, and how, the shadow on the moon is from the earth.
Yeah.
And he said, well, if the sun and the moon are both,
Visible.
how is the earth causing a shadow on the moon? So he kind of got,
Yeah, it wasn't Earth shadow so much. It was, so what threw me off. We walked out of Publix one day, and I could see the sun setting, so I can still see the sun. Well, I look up at the moon, and I realize that the shadow on the backside of the moon is not lining up correctly, because light is linear. It travels in a straight path unless it is acted upon by something else.
photonic
it.
barriers.
Yeah, so crystal, water, whatever. Something has to act on it, or it travels directly straight. So we're looking up. I can see the sun right over the horizon. I can see the moon. There's nothing in between them. And for some reason, the shadow on the back of the moon was rotated in such a way that it was obvious that it was not straight. That those light rays were not hitting it straight. And it messed with me, man. Like,
Yeah.
I tried.
To this day, he's still...
Yeah. And so sometimes I'll go out there, and whoever's running the simulation, they fixed it. But I still...
the glitch in the matrix has
now
been
and then.
See,
addressed.
that's what I'm saying, man. I always tell when people get going on like conspiracy theories with me, I'm like, which pill do you want to take first?
Yeah,
Red or
man.
Blue. Like, I'm Morpheus on that shit. Like, I'm like, are you ready to unplug your mind now?
I'm ready.
Well,
Like,
if
look at this.
if we're gonna go into conspiracy theories, it's kind of, they parallel each other, and this may be a sensitive subject, but 9/11 and Pearl Harbor. Right.
Yeah, maybe we should not delve into those quite yet.
Okay.
That's a little deep.
All right.
I watched a video
All
on
right.
those, though. I made a
Easy.
comment on Facebook. And
Well,
the
I won't
dude
get into
don't even
evidence,
know.
but I'll just give you a couple outlying points, right? So, at the time of both events, the United States was in a financial crisis.
Mhm.
And what is the best engine for financial gain? War.
That's Civil
Yeah, I'm not
War.
gonna-
That's what they say
But
about
we'll,
Civil War with the,
like I said, we'll pump the
Rothschilds.
brakes on that one.
The
Yeah.
Rothschilds needed the Civil War, they say, to break America, to bring the one world bank in.
Well,
Because really, that's when they came in. Rockefeller.
yeah, the One World
Brought
Bank's
them in.
the One World Bank's a crazy topic in itself.
Yeah, I just opened up Pandora's box. I just want to talk about a funny conspiracy theory about dinosaurs.
About dinosaurs, and now we're talking
You
about
you guys are wrapping tinfoil around your
the
heads.
New
Right now.
World Order.
Robert's going to be listening to this, like freaking out.
Oh, he's gonna cancel He's gonna cancel his TikTok. Now.
Hey, has anybody called Bobbert? Because like what was it? March 5th is when Trump was supposed to be brought in again. Like
Well, he was on CPAC or something like that, right?
I don't know what that is.
It's like some conference that he
Oh, yeah,
was
he was on there. Or
he was
something.
talking about how
But
he's
that was the date that QAnon set that they were gonna. That was the date that
that he was going to become president again.
That
Right.
Biden's not president; it's all Trump, and that came and went. And
Well,
Robert's got to be heartbroken about it.
well, we'll leave this laying dog live for that
Yeah.
for the moment because I got my own thoughts on this whole process. But
Yeah, I'd rather not get into that because it's not only infuriating, it's very divisive. And I think
Correct.
that's kind of what they're after.
Right.
But yeah, so Triceratops.
let's
Dinosaurs.
reeling it in, reeling
For
it in.
real though.
I think the Rothschilds created the dinosaurs also.
There it
Oh,
is.
God, here we go.
Curtis
I just
Burbage.
told
Breaking
you who
news.
created it.
Breaking news. Curtis Burbage has solved it.
He
I'm
got
telling
in
you,
the shit, boys.
I'm telling you, dude, they are hardcore dudes, man. They are hardcore. They
Oh, I
control
don't doubt
so much
that.
shit,
Oh yeah.
and it's crazy. And they're like Alex Jones. I'm telling you, Alex Jones. They probably want to kill his ass.
Oh dude.
Oh yeah, I
'Cause he's
watched him
hardcore.
on Joe Rogan, and so what I love about Alex Jones is he just says the most outrageous stuff.
But
sounds
he
crazy,
but
'cause
he
sounds
always
crazy.
has evidence.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
He
when
always
snuck
has.
into Bohemian Grove.
Oh, man. He's
Is
getting
like,
in the shit.
I'm
We
Dude,
need to have him on the
He
podcast.
snuck into a Bohemian Grove meeting one time and recorded.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
that's what
Record the
I'm
whole
saying,
thing, yeah.
And he pissed them off to no end, man.
So that podcast was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
He comes right out of the gate with just the most outlandish shit.
Gay frogs.
No, well, that came later.
Yeah,
But
frogs.
yeah, I've actually got a sticker that I need to put up in here from Internet Comment Etiquette, where he has the gay frog sticker. Anyway, but yeah, so he says this outlandish thing, and Joe Rogan is like, "No way, there's no way that's real." And Jamie looks it up. And
Oh, he's
sure
talking about
enough,
the AT&T funding the.
that was one of them
yep.
too. Yeah. So for 3 hours, literally, he keeps saying stuff, and Joe Rogan's like, "I don't know if I believe that."
He always said, look it up.
Yeah, so Jamie, and so, but yeah, like Joe Rogan expects him to put all the weight on him. He just told you. He's got stuff in front of you. He's giving you anecdotes and facts about it. You're choosing not to believe, so you go to Google.
Google, which is a-
Rogan explained the only reason why some of that was because Rogan says that he's proved now see. Alex
Words are real
Jones did
hard.
something. He did something. I don't know what it is. I never got to look it up. That like really made him look bad. He predicted something or said something that really made him look bad.
He's done a lot of those things.
But I'm saying there was one thing that he was wrong about, and Rogan brought it up, but I can't remember what it was. But I never like
on that podcast.
On that.
Well, in that podcast.
Yeah, so he was like 1 for 40.
But
Yeah.
there was something though that really put a bad taste.
No,
in
I
my
think
mouth.
if I'm not mistaken, and we don't have a fact checker here because we're just three dudes sitting in a room.
Yeah, keep
But I
saying Preston, you gotta come in.
believe it was something to do with Sandy Hook.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
was
it
a
was.
Sandy
It was
Hook.
Sandy
I
Hook.
believe it was
flag.
something to do with
Yeah, that
Sandy
was it.
Hook.
That was it.
You know, and I hate to get into that kind of stuff, but it's just so hard not to. The government's obviously got some stuff going on, so it's
Yeah.
real hard not to just point the finger and be like, "You guys screwing everything up."
But they fact check Alex Jones because of the fact of like Rogan said, it's not that he don't believe him because he's been right on a lot more stuff
Right.
than what he was.
It's just so
But
crazy.
just that the people are going to want to see the facts.
Well,
Yeah.
or
and
their
Joe-
audience.
You can't.
Joe is a
handle the truth.
centrist. I would call him a centrist. Not a centrist. How about a open-minded, moderate. Yeah, okay. So he purposely invites people from both sides of the spectrum so he can gather all the information he can. But then when you rely on Google to fact check everything, which is, I mean,
it's questionable.
Big tech, you know, what?
Who's putting it out there?
Yeah, how can you fact check the fact checkers? You know what I mean?
I mean, that's why, like we've been talking about all this whole episode. You kind of have to look at all the information that you can get
and you have
make
to
your own
decide for
decision.
yourself. Right?
You know, so hey, we're at 30 minutes now. You guys email me intheshit69@gmail.com. Tell me if you think dinosaurs exist. Let us hear some more good conspiracy theories that aren't too deep. We don't want to talk about anything, get anybody all upset and stuff.
Please don't bring up lizard people. 'Cause I'm so sick of that
Gosh,
crap.
here we go, lizard people.
I
Look,
hate that.
I'm not gonna talk about Hillary Clinton.
Or Elizabeth Warren, right?
Oh,
well,
gosh.
no, there's an old show back when I was a kid, and y'all too young.
Beware the sleaze
called
stacks.
V. V was, V was a show about lizard people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were aliens anyway. And then that movie Roddy Piper. I can't remember what that movie was called.
Roddy Piper was in a movie?
I'm
was
here
in a
to
movie,
chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of
Was it
bubblegum.
Doom?
No, it was a movie about
They Are
aliens.
Among Us. I think something like that.
It's like you have to put on these sunglasses.
But he's got
to
magic
see
sunglasses so he can see the aliens.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It's a badass movie, man.
Well, guys.
Hey, man, I just wanted to say thanks for letting me come on, and I want to come back and do this. This is fun, man.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. It went really well. I was kind of afraid that Kurt was gonna start picking on you and you get all upset and smack the mic and
There's only
run
one
out of
thing-
here.
there's
I
only
haven't
one
turned
thing
any
else.
tables. I haven't
No.
shed a
Not
tear.
good.
Like, I'm
Not
good, man.
There's only one thing I got to say is, though, I feel like we were doing a podcast with Bob Marley's metrosexual cousin, with him blowing that vape in here the whole time.
Yeah. Oh man, it is kind of hotboxed in here.
Hey, man, it smells like watermelon. You're good to go, man.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind the vape because of the good smells. I can't stand the way cigarettes smell, dude.
I know, right?
Unless I'm in the bar. If I'm in the bar, I
You're
wanna
too
smell
drunk to
this-
care.
Pass
right.
through ribbons and some cigarettes on your clothes. Hell yeah.
Yum. Well, hey guys, thank you so much. Again, this has been Getting in the Shit, and I am Judson Miller.
Curtis Burbage.
Bean Daddy.
See you next time.